Welcome to the Back to Soul podcast. Here we will connect with our soul and discuss what the journey home looks like. Inspired by my own true spiritual awakening, I'm your host, Danyell, better known as Coach Danyell. I'm a life coach specializing in wellness and finance. I've searched, I've Googled, but I couldn't find the answers I was looking for on this journey. So hopefully listening to this podcast will help you come home, back to soul. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for weekly episodes. Welcome to the Back to Soul podcast. I'm your host, Danyell, and we're back for episode 6. Today we're talking about motivation. Where do you find it? How much does it help you? Are there limits to this motivation? And are there good and bad motivators? Let's talk about it. Here on the Back to Soul podcast, we will speak often about books and how they can help us to navigate this journey back home, back to our soul. I've partnered with Audible, who has thousands of titles to choose from, including audiobooks, podcasts, and groundbreaking originals, and just so much more. Plus, the Audible app makes things so much easier to listen to anytime and anywhere. So to continue your journey back home, back to your soul, go ahead and download the Audible app. Also, let me mention, new members try Audible free for 30 days. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Coach Danyell, CoachDanyell. So I'm recording this podcast on Saturday and it drops on Tuesday. So this week has been very eye-opening for me. First off, I'm located in Dallas, Texas, and it was a couple of days of just some crazy bad weather, some extreme wind and extreme tornadoes. So now today the weather is beautiful. It is in the upper 60s, the sun is shining, it's a light wind, it's so beautiful today. So I had an aha moment and I was thinking how beautiful things can appear on the outside, but inside be utter turmoil. So I'm curious, where do you find your motivation? If you're in a situation or you have a mindset that has you just going through turmoil and you're trying to reach and find the light and find motivation and find inspiration, what do you do? What are you reaching for? How are you finding it? So I'm at a phase in my life where I'm migrating to my next chapter. And that next chapter is focused on self-love. It's focused on healing and self-empowerment. So I'm focusing on my purpose in life, which is bringing me closer to God. It's bringing me closer to self-awareness, and I'm just being elevated in all aspects of my life. I've come to the conclusion that it's simply hard to focus on this 24/7. Within life, sometimes you need that turmoil because you need the balance. You need to be able to gain your strength and grow. Without that turmoil, there's no growth. So this past week for me, indicative of the weather that we've experienced, I feel like my life just took an upside down turn. And as quick as it turned upside down, it turned right side up. 1 second I am emotional, I'm angry, and an hour later I'm back to my normal happy self. I'm back to everything being right in the world. It's nice to live a life of ease and being comfortable. But within that sort of life, there's also no growth. There's no challenge. And I think we all have to understand and learn that we need those challenges. It's interesting that sometimes you will go through the ringer, and while you're going through it, it is the worst. It is detrimental to your soul. And then after you weather the storm, you find a place of peace, and there's respect that comes from that previous chapter. There's gratefulness. So although I was experiencing some really hard times this week, by the end of the week, by today, everything worked out. And all of those tears, all of the worry, all of the stress, it just went from 100 down to 0. And now I'm in a place of just being thankful, and I understand it. But I also really enjoy living a life of ease. But I understand that we need those challenges sometimes. And the hard things that I faced this week were mainly based on having faith and trust in God. So you may be listening and you may be going through a very short period, a very short chapter of just going through some turmoil and questioning your faith and questioning if you're on the right path and questioning if you're where you need to be. And just listen to these words for confirmation, but you are exactly where you need to be. In this moment, if you're listening to this podcast, you are exactly where you need to be in life. And although it does not always seem that way, you are where you need to be. And everything is okay. And everything will work out. If you follow the Find Your Positivity podcast, you know that we state our daily affirmations and we set our intention of the day. There are days, there are nights, there are weeks when I do not want to record. I do not want to write my script. But one thing that truly helps me tremendously when it comes to life and finding my motivation is my daily affirmations. It is a part of my routine. If I'm not listening to my own affirmations, then I'm listening to other people's recorded affirmations. And affirmations work for any subject. And it just helps to put my mindset in a better space. Especially if I am focusing on my goals, I'm focusing on my finances, then I'm listening to wealth affirmations. I'm listening to worthiness affirmations. I'm listening to success affirmations. And I try my best to be consistent with that repetitiveness because I want those words to sink in. When I'm talking about myself, I want to speak about myself in a prosperous and loving light. And I also want to do that when I'm speaking about others. So if my entire day is swimming with thoughts and words about being loving, caring, prosperous, wealthy, successful, then I'm also going to shine that light out to the world. With affirmations, it is something I've been doing for years at this point. I stumbled upon an affirmation video years ago, which led me to Abraham Hicks, which led me to just more self-discovery, and I've been on that path ever since. And I know everyone, they're not a fan of affirmations, and that's okay. Here's how and why they actually work. Certain words hold higher vibrations than others. So words like love, joy, happiness, peace, they have higher vibrations compared to hate, envy, lust, jealousy. There's plenty of videos posted of people speaking positive versus negative words to plants. And the positive plants, they always thrive. Everything is energy and vibration. So if you're telling yourself or hearing positive things, those words, those things are going to sink into you. And those are going to empower you. Whether you acknowledge it or not, they still will sink into you vibrationally. You can Google it, you can research it. That is why it's always good to be just mindful of what you're saying and what you're thinking. So I practice affirmations daily. If you want to actually try out affirmations, you can visit my YouTube channel at Purely Danyell, or just follow the Find Your Positivity podcast. Again, new episodes are posted Monday through Friday. And I have affirmations every day within the podcast. It's great. It's empowering. It's motivating. It's inspiring. And not only am I recording it, but I am also listening with you guys to these affirmations, to these episodes, because they also inspire me. Hi, if you've migrated here from the Find Your Positivity podcast, you know that we speak affirmations daily. If you love hearing these daily affirmations, here's your reminder that I offer personalized affirmations. That's right, cater to your specific situation, your needs, and your wants. A recorded audio special just for you. It'll help to empower, to motivate, to enlighten, and just inspire you. Use code FRIEND at checkout at CoachDanyell.com to receive a discount. Let's get back to the show. Another thing that I do daily for my motivation is I seek inspiration. It's amazing to have self-motivation. That's great. But I also think you need to be able to see different perspectives and open yourself up to different ways of thinking. One example for me is religion. Religious stories, religious practices, different from what I learned as a child. I grew up Baptist, and I've been able to truly migrate and focus on just my spiritual being. And I don't believe I have to follow a certain religious regimen in order to be closer to God. Another route for inspiration or seeking inspiration is those different public figures. It's the YouTube videos, it's the TikTok videos, it's the Instagram videos. Deepak Chopra, Oprah, Steve Harvey, Lewis Howes, Gary Vee, just so many people that have made a life of inspiring people. And that's how you can also just seek inspiration. And you don't have to take in every word, but it could be one of their videos that truly inspire you to change and just open up to a different way of thinking. I think you can gain inspiration from any and everything, everywhere. I watch a lot of really cute animal videos on TikTok, and you can find inspiration in animals. Animals are personable, they're emotional, they're observant, and they're protective. Podcasts, books, hobbies, different experiences, just being open to being curious about life will help you find that motivation. The last thing I would recommend and try to do consistently for motivation is switch up my routine. So for instance, if you go to the same coffee shop every day and you order the same drink every day, then I would recommend just switching it up. We like consistency because we become comfortable. We know what to expect. You know exactly what kind of service you're going to get if you've been going to the same shop for years. You just know what to expect. But you are in your comfort zone and you're not blooming. You are maintaining but not growing. I understand this because I'm a person of habit and I love consistency. But one thing about life is we need to become accustomed to being uncomfortable. It's in that uncomfortableness that you actually grow. I have certain Starbucks locations that I go to weekly, but a few months ago I began to switch it up. I began to try out different locations and I began to just try out different drinks. Sometimes the universe will force you to try something new. If they run out of your favorite thing, either you'll try something new or you'll just go to a different location. So I think it's good to just get out of your element, and not that you have to do it every day, but maybe once a week or so, just trying something new, just out of the ordinary. Even with my affirmations, I switch up how I recite them. I switch up the flow. I try out different words. I try out different music. I think when you switch up your daily habits, who you speak to daily, what you're wearing, what you watch on TV, it helps you to be open and just receptive to what's around you. The world is always changing and it's so big and fast. So I would just try to experience it, all of it. So that's going to bring us to the end of today's episode. Be sure to check back in next week for the next one. Don't forget to come back Monday through Friday for daily episodes. You can find more content on the Patreon, on YouTube, or other social media. Check the links in the description box. Thank you.